You pull up to speak at an important conference on behalf of your father's company, Vitality. Take a deep breath to steel your nerves. What are your... She, her. It's a big day. Before you tackle it, let's choose a look. Body type 1 or male. We have, let's go customize further. Let's see what our options are. Choose your face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Default name of Cameron. Kincaid. Alright, Cameron, it's a big day, but nothing you can't handle. So, it's the first time you've done a conference with this big. Big whoop. You're prepped, you've prepared, everything is going to go your way. With a curt nod, you smooth a hand down your suit and push open the limo door. Only to be met with boos and chants. Eat the rich! Eat the rich! Eat the rich! Living wages for all or profit for none, you corporate scum! Before you have a chance to get your bearings, a projectile sails at you from deep in the crowd. Choose. Because that's dumb. Duck behind security, grab them, bat them away. Duck behind security. Without hesitation, you dip behind the nearest security guard and he racks with a jolt. Don't worry, Miss Kincaid, I've got you. You flinch and turn your head as the guards grab the shoes from mid-air just in time for a flash of a camera to nearly blind you. Cameron Kincaid, cowering from commoner's shoes. This picture is going to be media gold. No, but it is going to be the reason I buy out your employer and stick you in the unemployment line. Is pissing me off really worth not being able to make rent on that hovel you call an apartment next month? For a moment, the reporter looks between his camera and you, and then... I'll take my chances. As another flash burns your eyes, you hear a voice. How many times do I have to tell you? Action will always be more effective than the gift of gab! A shadow falls over you, and you turn to find your father stepping out of his limo of his own action. I thought it was someone on maybe a loudspeaker. He's very angry. When you say more than you do, you're telling people the only thing you run is your mouth. Dad, And still, the lesson hasn't sunk in. Pity. Your mouth snaps closed as your father stalks towards the entrance. You trail behind, watching as the crowd's jeering intensifies. I've never seen this many people angry. Maybe we should call extra in security. Extra security means extra money, and I'm not paying any more of these rent-a-cops to sit around with their thumbs up their asses. Especially not over a few lazy millennials who don't want to work. Just before the two of you reach the door, a young woman breaks free of the barrier, moves to stand in your father's path. How do you sleep at night knowing your profits are the highest they've ever been, but your employees are underpaid? On my left side with my leg hitched, passing enough ass gas to kill an elephant. Does that answer your question? That was actually good. You should be ashamed. Ashamed! As the protester screams in your father's face, he simply snaps his fingers, and at once the security guard steps forward and drags her away. Without sparing a second glance, your father heads inside, and hastily, you follow him backstage. Do you really think that was the best idea? What if she sues or something? Then we tie her up in so much red tape she can't afford a pair of heavy-duty scissors to cut herself free, much less a lawyer. Now, show me that giving you this presentation wasn't a waste of an opportunity. Definitely not. I've been working on this deck all week. You open your tablet to show off slides of Vitality's newest cell phone, but your father holds up a disgusted hand after barely a glance. What is this? Why are you playing with the computer when you need to be looking people in the eye? Dad, I'm not playing. Studies show people respond to presentations better when they're more interactive. Plus, we're a tech company. If we're going to stay competitive, we can't just ignore advancements.
If this is what you call prepared, I'll handle things myself. I don't know why I bothered to trust you with something like this anyway.
You trusted me because I earned this chance. I know this demographic better than anyone. I eat, sleep, and breathe Vitality products. Please, just let me see it through.
Stop begging. You're embarrassing yourself. Besides, my mind is made up. Wait here.
The announcer calls your name, but instead of heading out yourself, you watch as your father saunters out to greet the cheering crowd.
Thank you. This is all too much. Vitality is a humble company, built from the ground up from nothing but my own blood, sweat, and tears. Because, unlike many, I come from unpretentious beginnings. I am the example that, with big dreams,
come even bigger sacrifices. You've heard the speech a million times, and as you look at your father standing in the spotlight, you can't help the surge of jealousy that fills you. This was my chance to prove myself, and there he is, refusing to hand over the reins and see the future. How will I ever be more than a middle management if I never get the chance to show I'm ready? Are you sure he even wants you to move up? You startled as a man joined you in the wings, his gaze locked on your father just past the curtain. 'Cause from where I'm standing, it doesn't seem like he's thinking about you at all. Why do you even put up with him? Look around. Do you see either of his other kids there? No. That's because I'm the only one who even bothered to learn from him. Weekends, holidays, summers, I was at Vitality. Because putting up with his crap means one day he might actually name me as his successor. And when this is all mine, I'm going to... be richer than Musk, Gates, and Bezos combined. Some people aspire to be that. Secure the family business for generations.
Good luck with that.
I don't need luck. My dad may have started this business in the 70s, but it can be in our bloodline forever. It just needs someone with a vision. It's easy to imagine yourself at the helm, standing in the spotlight, bathing in the adoring looks of fans. Did you see outside? You've seen what Vitality is capable of in the past, but now allow me to welcome you into the future with our newest advancement, the Axiom phone. The technology alone is going to revolutionize the communication field. This is incredible. Cameron, Cameron, Cameron. But an angry voice rips you from your fantasy, and when you come to, the man you were speaking with is no longer at your side. Instead, you find him standing on stage, his angry words directed at your father.
Nothing about you is humble. Vital, innocent blood is on your hands, and you will pay.
A shot rings out, and you watch horrified as your father falls. All around you, the room bursts into chaos, and you rush forward, clutching your father's bleeding body to your chest. Dad? Dad! Chapter 1. Blood is thicker than water. By the way, you notice how there was no disclaimer for that? Just saying. At the hospital, I bet you no one gets tilted by that one. At the hospital, you pace the floor of a private waiting room until finally the doctors attending your father burst in. It's about time. Will somebody tell me something? What's going on? How is he? Where is he? Miss Kincaid, we have good news and bad.
We've managed to stabilize your father, but the bullet is lodged in his brain, and there's significant swelling.
We could operate, but there's a high likelihood your father would die on the operating table. And if you don't? The doctors eye each other, and the look they share makes your heart fall.
Doing nothing would guarantee his life, but his lifestyle would change dramatically. As his next of kin, the choice is yours to make.
So, don't remove the bullet, he lives. But, yeah. Or remove the bullet. Remove the bullet. My father is a titan of industry, and if he could, he'd tell you he's willing to risk it all for the chance to stay that way. Are you sure? Because this is a significant surgery.
Maybe you want to discuss it with the rest of your family.
You stop him, gesturing wildly to the pagers hanging off the doctor's scrubs. You see those fancy pagers you wear? My dad made that technology to make those possible. You get to save lives because of him, so you get to your asses in there and pay him back in kind. All at once, the doors burst open again, and this time your father's wife, Elizabeth, strides into the room. Still throwing your weight around after all this time. I'd have thought you'd have learned by now that you don't have any. Elizabeth. Your stepmother's blistering gaze lands on the doctors, and at once they stiffen. Why are you asking the family bastard about my husband's care when I'm the power of his attorney? I don't like you already. Well, the question was rhetorical. Now that I'm here, I'll be making all the decisions about my husband's care. And I'd rather risk the surgery. So, literally what I was saying to do. Alright, Elizabeth. That's just what I said. Are you really so preoccupied with taking shots at me that you didn't notice we were on the same side? You may be used to everything being about you, but the only side I'm on is my husband's. God, it's like talking to a wall. Elizabeth gets menacingly close, and it's all you can do to hold your ground. From this moment on, your father and his medical care are officially none of your business. But if you need something to do, might I suggest you start with that? She points to the television in the corner of the room set to a news station, and you grab a remote to click through the channels. Markets are tumbling in response to an attack on Vitali founder, Theodore Vital. Police are hauling away 37-year-old Thomas Marsh. Marsh kicked off what some are calling the death of a dynasty when he... A whole industry is purported to be on the downswing as a result of shooting. We can't help but wonder, is this the end of the global giant? All of Dad's work, it's going up in smoke. It sure will, unless someone can stabilize the chaos. And isn't that your job, Miss VP of Business Strategy? The words come out ice cold and mocking, a clear challenge, and immediately you tense. It is. One I'm very good at. I even have the degree to prove it. Degrees are expensive toilet paper. If you want to impress me, go get some results. After you take your waiting car to Vitality offices and bark out swift commands as you rush through the lobby, gaze fixed over your shoulder. Everyone who reports to me directly, I want you in the conference room in 1 hour. If you've got a hot date, cool it. Funeral, reschedule. Kids recital. For the rest of the news cycle, you are not the father. Oh my god. Sorry kids, I had to go grab milk. It's all hands on deck, people. But as you step out of the elevator and onto the office floor, you collide head-on with someone pacing in the narrow hallway. So do we find a man or a woman? You know what? Hold on. Hold on. Let's just make sure, just in case it screws up, it's Pixelberry. Oh, we don't even get to customize him. Okay, see, this is why I'm glad. Reflexively, you reach out to grab him, gripping his muscled bicep as he snags your waist and draws you into the safety of his body. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you coming, and, oh my god. You're his daughter. You're Cameron Kincaid. And you managed to get past security. It's a wonder we're not all riddled with bullet holes. Guards! No, I'm George Fatiola, Mr. Vitelli's new executive assistant. It's my first day. Right. Well, I'm not sure if you've heard, but Mr. Vitale won't be needing you today, or possibly ever, so if you'll excuse me. You give his arm a quick squeeze and thanks, but as you move to sidestep him, George blocks your path. I've heard he's been shot, but I thought I could still come. Like you said, it's all hands on deck, right? Look, I don't have time to babysit. I still have to calm down the sharks in the press room, head up in a staff meeting, and then calm a frantic board of directors. And that's just if I want to stand a chance at stopping a bear run on the market. And you're smiling. Why are you smiling? Because that is exactly the type of experience I wanted when I applied to work for your father. I'm ready to get to work whenever you need me. Please? His relentless excitement about things have long since grown mundane to you. Is endearing. But down the hall you hear Press growing restless. George, I'll be blunt with you. Yeah, I'm gonna be blunt, because I don't know who this guy is, and I didn't even get to customize him as a romance option or do anything. I didn't even get to see the two options and compare them. I don't suffer fools. You're either useful, or you're fired. I only need today to prove myself. Fine, wow me, now. What? I've got a room full of press waiting on me, and no more time. How can you help? George looks at you, wheels turning. Oh, you're close. You can't go into the press room looking like that. You look down, and for the first time you realize you're covered in blood. Your father's blood. Right, of course. We wouldn't have known. It's not on our character. Your voice trembles, and George pauses, his smile faltering. I can have a suit delivered by messenger for you. Would that be okay? Before you can answer, your phone starts vibrating non-stop, and as you check the offending web alert, you hold up a hand, feeling suddenly woozy. Bring it to my office in 10 minutes, please. You got it. Everything all right? Just 10 minutes, George. Without waiting for confirmation, you head to the office and click the first link. Footage of the shooting fills your screen from multiple angles. Oh, Dad. I can't believe. I talked to your would-be killer. He seemed so normal. I had no idea he was there to... A knock comes at the door, interrupting your dark thoughts, and George pokes his head in, a garment bag in hand. Miss Kincaid, your suit's here. You motion for him to come in as you queue up the next video, but a hand gently covers the screen. Something tells me looking at this isn't going to be helpful, but I have something that might be. She opens the bag to reveal a beautiful bespoke suit. It exudes power, and as you rub the lapel between your fingers, your panicked breath steadies. Sea suit. Buy this item. This will do nicely. Thank you. Of course, I'll step out and you can... But you don't let him finish before you start to yank your jacket and remove your shirt. No, I need a strategy for handling the press, and you can't exactly help me put together from out in the hallway. But you're... Before he can finish, you peel your shirt off. George quickly turns to face the wall, a deep blush working its way up his neck. The footage of my father's shooting just leaked. What's our play? Well, there are two ways you could play it. One, garner sympathy. Hope the media doesn't sensationalize the story. It'll give you the human edge, make people think twice before they repost anything triggering, but the market will take that as a bad sign. What's the other option? You wrangle on the slacks before quickly slipping on the shirt and tucking the hem in. As you reach for the jacket, your hand shakes. George's steady grip reaches out to help you. You shove down the sentimentality and give the people what they need. Lie if you need to, just calm them down. It'll shore up the market and get everything off the freefall, but I'll have to look like a heartless robot. You finish dressing and George shoots you a half-hearted smile. If it helps, you make a beautiful heartless robot. I was going for powerful and capable in the face of imminent disaster. That too. As you head for your office door, George scrambles to get it for you, opening and wide with a smile. Good luck, Miss Kincaid. But as you take the long walk to the press room, lucky is the last thing you feel. As you take to the podium, you draw in a deep, settling breath. You can do this. Just stay calm and don't rile everyone up. Thank you all for coming. My name is Cameron Kincaid. This is where the silence should fall over the room. And as Vice President of Business Strategy at Vitality and the daughter to Theodore Vital, I'd like to make a statement. Earlier today, my father was the victim of gun violence. While this is a tragedy, we at Vitality anticipate a speedy recovery and are turning our attention to the business my father would want one done. You point to a reporter, and the crowd falls silent to hear you subdued by your calm exterior. Do you feel that the threat has been neutralized, or is the Vitale family still in danger? The police are doing excellent work, and our private security is with us. I feel confident the threat is contained. We've gotten word that the gunman, Thomas Marsh, has been captured. Do you have any idea what his motive may have been? As I said, the police are investigating. As to motive, I can only speculate, and that would be irresponsible at this point. What's more important is that the shooter has been arrested, no one else has been harmed, and my father is getting the best care possible. What you call the best care, others are called undue privilege. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. After all, sources say Mr. Vitale is currently at South Bay Hospital, where he has his own wing. Was there a question in there? Yes, why does your father have his own wing when any employee of his would be lucky to even be seen at South Bay, a private hospital? The ambulance took my father where it was medically necessary, and the hospital's gunshot protocol requires security measures like isolation be taken. My family simply complied. What is your father's condition at this time? Can you update us? My father is in the best possible hands. As we've said, the hospital and staff are caring for him are the best in the country. I have no doubt that they're doing everything they can to return him to peak health. Stockholders need to know how long peak will take. It's hard to say, but Vitality is equipped to sail the course my father has set in the meantime, and will reevaluate when we have more information. One more question then. What will you do about the plummeting stock prices? Feel your temples begin to throb, and the wooziness you fought off earlier returns. You grip the podium and muster your last burst of strength. Well, I'm confident enough to say that Vitality is as strong today as it was yesterday. How can you say that when the head of the company has been shot? My father has a strong team, both in the boardroom and in the operating room. And will you be leading that team here at Vitality in his absence? You stand firm, even though your chest pinches at the thought of your every dream coming true. You in charge of the family business. But as the dream fades, the press awaits, and you clear your throat. The path forward for Vitality will be clear in the coming days, thank you. You didn't answer the question. Are you going to run Vitality in your father's absence? As you step away from the podium, the reporters talk over each other, filling the room with chaos. Suddenly a voice from the back of the crowd rings out. Don't be ridiculous. You can picture the accompanying sneer before you see it. Then your half-brother Dante appears. You can't help but note how like your father it is. You look fun. Only a child sharing both the blood and last name of Theodore Vitale will ever be allowed to run Vitality. It says so word for word in the bylaws. You can check if you'd like. Your half-sister Sabrina struts up beside him, and as the cameras flash, she poses. Okay. Actually, it says only a child sharing both blood and last name of Vitality founder will be allowed to run Vitality. If you're going to recommend other people read our bylaws, you should probably lead by example, Bree. In any case, you were just about to wrap up, so if you don't mind. Before the words are fully out of your mouth, Dante claims the podium, ignoring you and addressing the crowd. Temporarily, succession hasn't yet been determined, but when it is, we will be keeping the public in the loop. Sabrina crowds in, further pushing you to the back of the stage. Thank you all for coming. The family will release more details soon. As he turns to exit the stage, Dante's fingers clamp painfully around your wrist, and he drags you off stage with a menace in his eyes. Dante drags you into your office, and Sabrina flounces in after, closing and locking the door before lounging against it. Let me go, bull. His eyes flare at the nickname, and he holds you tighter. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too tight? You snag out of his grasp, and as you rub the tender skin, he glares at you. Because that's exactly the amount of force my boss has had on my sack for the last 4 hours. That's a shame. The way the governor falls all over himself to suck up to Dad, you'd think he'd be a great lay. A market crash in an election year? Have you lost your mind? It's not like I shot him myself. I'm doing the best I can. It's not enough, Cameron.
Sabrina pushes off the door and comes closer, planting her hands on your desk.
Videos of our father bleeding out all over the clock out. You need a liaison with legal and get it all scrubbed. Sabrina, I don't see you lifting a finger to help. You're on social media all day. The report button is right there. Literally, the least you could do is this.
You whip out your cell phone, press the thumbs down on a blank screen empathetically.
1, you have way too much faith in a computer-based algorithm. If you think reporting videos is going to be effective, you ancient cronut.
Calling someone a cronut. Okay, yeah, no, you're an idiot.
I'm not even a full decade older than you. 2, have you seen the sheer volume of the reposts? I do better going around smashing people's phones one by one. Look, I admit there's a lot left to handle, but I'm one person. If the 3 of us could work together, we might actually save the kingdom.
Dante heaves a sigh.
I can handle the board. Sabrina, you tackle the online mess. I don't care who you have to bribe, threaten, or maim. Get those videos down. Fine. You both owe me. I don't owe you shit. Should we settle this on terms of your help now? I don't want to find out I owe you with each a lung later. Don't worry. When it comes time for us to collect, you'll know. Sabrina and Dante leave, and you rest your head in your hands, letting the events of the day wash over you. Your throat burns, but you fight against the tears threatening to fall, your father's voice echoing in your ears. How many times do I have to tell you, Cameron? Never show weakness. That's BS. Every time you close your eyes, you see the silhouette of him falling, blood spraying everywhere, and the weight of it all settles on you again. A knock sounds at the door, startling you, and when you look up, George has poked his head in, his eyes bright.
It sounds like someone made a deal with the devil.
Since when is eavesdropping an executive assistant responsibility?
Since I could hear you all yelling from down the hall.
You sigh, and George slinks in, closing the door behind him. I guess you can say me and my siblings don't exactly bring out the best in each other.
Well, what's the story there?
Our dad cheated on their mom with mine, had me. When their mom found out, she had my sister to prove their marriage was stronger than ever.
Ah, well, that sounds healthy.
You laugh in spite of yourself, and the tone sounds weird in the face of everything that's happened. Still, you push on, urged by George's smile. It's a total crock, by the way. My dad and his wife are the 2 most unhappiest people I know, and I don't know why I'm telling you this.
It's because you're in shock.
You nod vaguely before sinking in your desk chair. George moves to stand before you, his face set in a determined expression.
How can I help, Miss Kincaid? Just tell me what you need and I'll get it done.
What do I need? Let's see, I need someone to keep an eye on Dante and Sabrina because I know they're up to something. I need to have not seen my dad reduced to a puddle on the stage because it just won't go away. But most of all, I need a drink.
Well, I can't do much about the memories, but I can tail your siblings and let you know what's going on. As for a drink, it's 5 o'clock. Somewhere, right?
George points out the window to the hotel bar across the street.
You go. I'll cover for you and take it back. Without waiting for your answer, George leaves, and you glance at the clock on the wall.
Staff meeting's in 20 minutes. I really shouldn't. But everything in you calls out for a whiskey, and with one final look at the calendar, you stand and head for the door. It's one drink, Cameron. What could go wrong?
Oh, do you really want to know?
You settle in at the bar, managing a half-friendly smile at the bartenders as you order. Whiskey, neat. You look like you've had a day. And then some. As she pours, you catch sight of the news on the TV at the bar and tune in. A Florida Harrison with Channel 9 News, reporting from South Bay Hospital. I'm here with one of Theodore's Vital's surgeons, bringing you the latest details from about the shooting. Mr. Vitale has been stabilized and moved to recovery. Though things are looking good, we won't know his condition until he wakes up. The chair beside you scrapes back as your drink arrives, and you pay the sound no mind, opting instead to lift your glass in a robotic salute. This one's for you, Dad. To your full recovery. As you tip the glass to your lips, a voice floats over the space next to you. Why not? I go away for 10 years and you're still pining away for your dad's job? The burn of the alcohol has nothing on the warmth that fills you as you recognize the tone and look over to find a familiar face. Okay, so again, we don't know how this is gonna go, so just saying. I'm gonna pick a man, see if it's gonna allow us to customize. Do anything? No? No, okay. Some things never change. James. He clinks his beer to your glass before bringing the neck of the bottle up to his lips to hide a smile. I stand corrected. You calling me James is certainly different. James Tibudex III. Wow, what a name. For a moment, I thought my father was here. He scanned the room, trying to imagine his father, Vitality co-founder James Tibudex II, anywhere near the raucousness of the bar around you. You and I both know a man with a pristine reputation like your father wouldn't be caught dead here. Just like we both know, I don't answer to James. Well, I wasn't sure if you still went by Trey. There's a lot I don't know about you now. There's a lot more about that we know about each other than no one else ever will. He looked you up and down, and immediately the thought of the nights spent in his bed in college come to mind. Don't start, I've had a day. Sleeping with you is the last thing on my mind. Been there, done that walk of shame. If I remember correctly, we never did much sleeping. And if I remember correctly, we hooked up for months. Then you dropped out of school, disappeared without so much as a screw you text. Because you would have screwed that too. But the easy banter comes to a halt, and for a moment, Trey looks chagrined. Yeah, that was not my finest moment. Hey, Trey. Bite me. You don't get to waltz back into my life and try to pick up like nothing ever happened after that. Where the hell have you been? In New York, starting my own company. I got tired of waiting to be handed scraps and pretending to like what I got. I mean, we worked our asses off at Vitality. Mailroom, working in the warehouse, a shipping product. We did it all, learned every bit of the industry, and what did we get for it? I got promoted. I'm the youngest VP of the business strategy Vitality has ever had. And yet you still don't have a seat at the board. But your brother and sister, who have barely stepped foot in the building, do. Not to mention, if your dad doesn't make one of them will end up CEO. Over you. You can't tell me you're fine with that. Of course you aren't. Still, you choose your words carefully, knowing the damage that hope can do. Obviously, I could helm Vitality better than Dante and Sabrina. Obviously, I've earned the right. But my plan to schmooze Dad and changing the bylaws went up in smoke today. Now, as I've got as much chance of getting to the top spot as you do. Sure. Now. But if nothing else, the incident should prove your father's days are finite. Now's the time to make your move. If you analyze the situation correctly, you could walk away with it all. My move? What are you talking about? He finishes the last of his beer, tips the empty glass towards the bank of chessboards in the hotel's lobby. The business world is basically a game of life-sized chess. The sooner you learn how Vitality's pieces move, the easier the game becomes. Why don't you stay a little longer? We'll have a drink, play a few rounds. I can walk you through the chess game that is Vitality. You chance a glance at your phone, noting that there's only 5 minutes left before the emergency staff meeting you called. Technically, I'm supposed to be going over to productivity, but if there is a way I could end up running things, I have a duty to stay, right? Learn strategy from Trey. But you're buying the next round.
Fair enough.
Trey signals for 2 more drinks, and as they arrive, he stands nodding towards a nearby chess table.
Follow me. Let's talk strategy.
You and Trey settle in, and with a casual sip of his beer, he starts setting up the pieces. So, how's this supposed to teach me business acumen again?
Half of being successful in business is being able to assess your opponent and predict their moves. The better you get at predicting, the easier it is to counterattack.
Okay, but who are these supposed to oppose opponents? Dante and Sabrina aren't the master strategists you think they are.
I wouldn't underestimate anyone if I were you. Dante is literally the governor's chief of staff.
A job my dad got him because he and the governor, Wyatt, are frenemies.
And one he's kept because Dante didn't know how to play the game or is damn quick study. I wouldn't count on your siblings being your only competition.
You also have your mother. Well, stepmother. Who else is there?
First rule of power is that everyone wants what you have. To think otherwise is to be naive. Think about it, Cameron. Who else could potentially take your spot?
Your second glass of whiskey loosens your tongue, and before you know it, your mouth is open and the words are rushing out. Well, your dad. Dad. You. But Dad. People tend to forget because he stays out of the day-to-day drama, but your dad is Vitality's co-founder. I'm sure there's a world where he could wrest power of the company away if he wanted to. But what are the odds? The world's sweetest old man is going to try and stage a coup. He's semi-retired as it is. Still, your mind races as you realize just how easy it would be if he tried, and the entire time, Trey just smiles.
I love the old geezer, but as affable smile is not a guarantee of niceness, it's a guarantee that you'll never see the evil coming.
So I'm just supposed to what? Trust no one? Look out for my best interest and mine alone?
If you want to land yourself at the top spot, yes.
Sounds like paranoia, not good business sense.
They go hand in hand.
How am I supposed to run a Vitality if I'm looking over my shoulder?
You can. That's why you set up your defenses.
Trey gestures to the board, and as you stare at the pieces all situated on their squares, he makes the opening move. The white knight sails over his pawns and out into the open.
The best defense is a good offense, and a good offense begins with power.
You ponder the board before making a simple pawn move forward 1 square. That's cute, but the only way to get power is to get a seat on the board. And as an illegitimate child without a Vitale name, I have a better chance of sprouting wings and flying.
Power is one part using your innate skills to create an advantage, and one part using advantages that are presented to you.
You make it sound so easy. Just tap in and the world is mine.
There's gotta be something in you that you could use to get what you want.
You start to complain that there isn't when an idea hits you. Well, maybe I guess I can outthink my rivals. You can scan the board carefully before moving your rook into a complicated setup destined to pay off 3 moves from now. Do you remember how Elizabeth used to use any opportunity to punish me when we were younger? I'd have to stay 2 steps ahead just to stay out of trouble.
I remember. It made her so pissed off when you had to counter to something she said or did.
As Trey moves this bishop exactly where you predicted, you quietly overpower it and sweep it off the board. True, but it did wonders for building up my foresight.
Use your strength to garner power, but remember, it's only as effective as how you use it.
You lean forward and look across the board. Your head is now buzzing, both with the alcohol and new ideas. Go on.
The most important part of power is capitalizing on your opportunities, and if you study your rivals, you'll know exactly when to strike. Luckily, most people are predictable. Trey picks up his rook and dangles it in midair for a moment. Take your brother, for example. Trey moves to put a rook down, his eyes sharp. Alcohol or not, you notice the move and stop his attack with a pawn. He grins. Dante is impatient, will always come at you directly, but your father... Trey picks up the queen, moves her clear across the board, putting you in a check you didn't see coming. Damn it. You can't evade. The queen is on your side of the board. It's a check. The queen will start picking away your defenses. A lot of people make this mistake in chess. They evade. That's why the evade option is there. Sacrifice your queen? No, you're taking a very valuable, very powerful member off the board, so go on the attack. You throw everything you can think of until your pieces dwindle, one by one. This is also a strategy that loses too. Feeling trapped? Give me a minute. But eventually you realize your options are next to none, and with a defeated sigh you lay down your king and throw up your hands. I fail to see your final point here, Trey. Trey picks up your captured pieces and begins to reset the board. Your father makes big moves. Stay on your toes, be prepared to do something creative thinking, and sacrifice to avoid getting decimated. I was gonna say decapitated, but you know, that works too. I can handle that. Any last bits of wisdom you want to impart before I have to get to my meeting? Yeah. Sacrificing, I don't know, it's a risky move if you sacrifice your queen. And I don't like doing it. Trey reaches for your hand and presses your queen gently into your palm. Also, yeah, the queen's supposed to be a representation of you, right? I know what you love. I know that you love vitality and want to see it as its best, but don't let your quest for power drive your motives. Because power corrupts even the best of us if we let it go to our heads. Trey, I won't let that happen to me because I've seen it firsthand. I've lived my whole life watching as power corrupted my dad. Carefully, he places the queen back on the board, setting up for the next guests. I won't end up like him. All I want it to be is where I rightfully belong. Before you can say another word, your phone rings. You pull it out, putting it to your ears. You motion for Trey that you're taking the call outside. Go for Cameron. Hi, Miss Kincaid, it's George. So, sorry to bother you. Normally, I wouldn't. I promise. I'm very self-sufficient. George, it's been a long day. Either get to the point or I'm hanging up. Right, well, I went to the board meeting to keep an eye out on, like you asked, but Mr. Vitelli, kind of kicked me out. What the hell are you talking about? Did you tell him that you were there at my request? Yes, but he said they needed to address a private agenda item and close the door in my face. It seemed suspicious, so I thought I'd better call. Your stomach twists and something tells you it's not the whiskey. George, put your ear to the door and tell me everything you can hear. Are you serious? Put your damn ear to the door. Man, I'll tell you. You're wrestling as he gets into position, then his voice comes as a whisper. I can't hear much, but it sounds like they're taking a vote on something. Whatever it is, it's gonna pass. Nearly everybody is voting aye. A thought clicks in your brain, and you make a mad sprint for the Vitality building across the street, earning honks from several cars. George, do whatever you have to stall that vote. But nothing. There's only one item they would be voting on right now, and it's the reason Dante insisted on talking with the board himself. He convinced them to make him interim CEO, and I'll be damned if I let that happen. Ah, now you're thinking. Welcome to chess. It's a complicated sport. It is. Most people go, sport? No, it's a battle of wits, so you are using your brain. It's the one thing that you use your brain. Everything else is physicality. Swimming, discus, the running, just all of it. It's all physical, but it's the one thing you use your brain for. I love it.
So without further ado, first and foremost, thank you all for watching. Much appreciated. Please, that if you did enjoy the content, to like, share, and subscribe. Be greatly appreciated. Aside from that, let me know your thoughts of this new book in the comments section below. It looks like Chapter 2 is up. As you make your battle plans to seize your territory, you realize you're only as strong as your weakest soldier. And right now, she has no soldiers. So with that being said, there was the 2 new books that released last week, which are these 2. I'm just kind of curious, like, when? Just kind of saying, you put a pilot out there, and you're testing the waters, which everyone's going to tap on it and see. The do no harm thing actually ended up being better than Boardroom Alpha. I think we're all just tired of those types of book because it's one werewolves, which nothing wrong with that, but it's the same trope. It's the same thing they throw at us all the time. And I could already tell by the views alone that a lot of you just pretty much agree that the one is far better than the other that we're talking about. Now, aside from that, today is Blades, Years, and Holiday Bake-Off. So stay tuned for those. Otherwise, Friday is just, the usual. Best Served, COP, and Bitten. So, again, kind of... Alpha 2. Next week, guys. Next week. So... keep that in mind. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Catch y'all later. Peace out.